Okay, so the case study, there is a scenario which is given. So we have discussed about the scenario. Once again, I'll take you through the case. The questions which are asked for this particular thing, only two questions. One is for 16 marks. No, three questions. One is for 16 marks, the other one 4 marks, and the last one for 5 marks. So first thing, 16 marks is for Porter's 5 forces. So we need to identify, I mean, the 5 forces are there. So we need to identify whether these forces are a threat to Stokeness engineering, or Stokeness has an upper hold over these 5 forces is what we have to comment about it. Because it says using Porter's 5 forces model lessens the impact of the external business environment on the performance management of Stokeness and give a justified recommendation of one new performance measures for each of the 5 forces at Stokeness. So, what's the first one? If we talk about the first one, it's threat from new entrants. Okay, the question says that group of engineers have conceived this idea of designing and producing few Stokeness is highly regarded in the industry for its advanced, efficient fuel cell designs. No, sorry, first paragraph, let's see. Mission is to provide world-leading reduced emission fuel efficient products that can be used in the motor industry. It is their idea which they have implemented. The idea that was conceived was implemented. Of course, in this process, they also have approached the VCs. So VCs have appointed experienced managers. So together, the engineers as well as the appointed managers are managing this particular business. So that's the introduction part of it. Then the new product development. So the new product development, Stokeness is developing hydrogen fuel cells for use in powering large motor vehicles such as buses and trucks. They will replace standard petrol diesel engines. The fuel cells have a clear advantage over the older technologies because in having lower carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas emission, the government of many developed countries are keen to see cut in such emissions. So there is encouragement from the government side to start such businesses. So that's what we see here. So when the government is encouraging, do you see that there is a threat? You have to participate in the discussion. Is this factor a threat? I mean, does it prove out to be a threat? Because government is encouraging. Governments of many developed countries are keen to see cuts in such emissions and are supportive of a variety of possible technological solutions to this issue. So we do see that. So we need to talk about governments of many countries are encouraging businesses to come out with such innovative products. on that note, it is a threat. So here we can talk about, therefore, thus many new entities would come up and become a threat to Stokeness. Anything else when we read through that? After that, external business environment. External business environment, it takes 5 to 10 years to develop a viable product for sale in this motor market. There are a number of companies developing fuel cells, but Stokeness is believed to have a 2-year lead over them and to be only 3 years away from the commercial launch. Okay. So here, this point focuses on already there are competitors entered into the market. It normally takes how many years? 10 years to develop a viable product. In that sense, also Stokeness has a lead in this. That is, Stokeness is believed to have a 2 years lead over them. So they are ahead of Stokeness is ahead of its competitors. That's one thing, and they are only 3 years away from commercial launch. So this point is a point where we discuss about threat of the existing rival, threat from existing rivals. So on that note, it is not so much of a threat because um, they are leading the market in terms of their research. They are 2 years ahead of their competitors and 3 years away from the launch. As of now, the situation looks that there is not much threat from the existing rivals. Okay, so if we talk about if anything else comes up, we can fit into that. Let's write it here as threat from rivals. Here it is not so much of a threat because Stokeness has a 2 years lead over its competitors and 3 years away from the launch. We do not see that the threat is not so much. But then we also should talk about, see, many people are coming out with innovative products. So maybe some rival may use technology which may require less than 10 years to come out with the product. So it all can, they can use technology and then come out with some innovative product that can, that can prove out to be a threat to the business, because of course government's encouragement is there. So it is encouraging every business which comes out with these kind of less emission generating products to less, more emission generating products to less emission generating products. So on that note, the competitive strategy also can become very serious. So that point we have to highlight. As of now, we could understand this one. Third and fourth are the power of the supplier, power of the customer. So let's look into what is the power of supplier first. Anything which we come across, we will again insert into the respective points. External business environment, we were reading through this one. It takes 5 to 10 years to develop a viable product for sale in this motor market. There are a number of companies developing fuel cells, But Stokeness is believed to have a 2-year lead over them, and to be only 3 years away from the commercial launch. Now we see alternative power technologies like the hydrogen fuel cells would be fitted by the major international vehicle manufacturers into their vehicles for sale to their customers. Now the vehicle manufacturers are what? Where do we fit them into? Alternative power technologies like hydrogen fuel cells would be fitted by the major international vehicle manufacturers into their vehicles for sale to their customers. The vehicle manufacturers will need to form a close partnership with any engine producer in order to make their technologies compatible, and this has already begun to happen, with two of the major manufacturers signing deals with other engine makers recently. Who are they? Please respond. Who are they? What do you see? Where do we fit them into? Which category do we fit them into? Anyone? A major problem which needs to be overcome with any of these new technologies is that there must be an infrastructure accessible to end users for refueling their vehicles, as the petrol station chains do for petrol engine vehicles at present. Governments have indicated their desire to support the development of such technologies to address environmental issues and try to establish new high value industries in their jurisdiction. This may do this through tax breaks and investments to support the development of the refueling infrastructure. So if we are talking about government support, see, government is coming out with tax breaks and investments to support the development. So the threat from new entrants is very high. Government is extending support via tax breaks and investments. So many would come forward and then start their businesses. So threat seems to be increasing. We still have not discussed about the vehicle manufacturers. Yesterday also I was mentioning that. See, one example is about the mobile phones. Earlier, the scenario was that mobile phone was just a phone to make the calls, but now of late we can see that there are many softwares. I'm really sorry. There are many apps which are used, which can be downloaded from the internet. But of late, we also see the trend that some of the most popular apps which are used by the users are already built into the mobile phone. So there is some understanding between the app developer and the mobile phone manufacturer to ensure that the app is already installed into the mobile phone. It is a part of the the entire technology and the software that is installed into the mobile phone. So now here also, if they are coming out with the fuel efficient cells, these fuel efficient cells should be compatible with the engine. The yes, the conventional vehicles that are manufactured were using the gas, that is the petrol and the diesel. Okay, they were refueling them at various petrol stations, etc. And of course, that was also causing some kind of an emission. Pollution was there, but this, if it has to be addressed, government anyway is encouraging, but it is just not sufficient, because already the vehicle manufacturers, the vehicle motor that is being manufactured should be able to take these cells, so the compatibility should be there. So the vehicle manufacturers are the buyers, the customers. They would they have to ensure that these cells are very well um, fitted into the vehicles. Only if that happens, so they are in which category? They are in under the category of buyers, because now only when they manufacture such vehicles, and where these cells can be very well fitted into the vehicles, it cannot work out. It is not that it's an add-on uh, component which can be just installed into that doesn't happen. So on that note, we understand that the vehicle manufacturers are the customers. Are they powerful or not? Because we have to understand the power of the supplier, the power of the buyer. So these two things have to be looked into. So are they powerful or not is what we have to understand now. Please talk about it. Are the buyers powerful or not? Okay. Keep thinking about it. I will also read the next paragraph. So we can also see together, we will discuss. Next paragraph talks about production of Stokeness fuel cells uses a special membrane which requires rare and expensive elements. Also, it has um, partnered with two other engineering firms to subcontract the production of certain components in the fuel cell. So now they are dependent on the supplier for a special membrane, that is some kind of a rare material. So in that case, is the supplier, from supplier's point of view, is the supplier um, powerful or not is what we have to understand. Apart from that, with two engineering firms to subcontract the production of certain components in the fuel cell, Stokeness has had to share much of its fuel cell design with these firms in order to overcome certain engineering difficulties. Anyone, am I audible first thing? Let's start from that note. Am I audible? Somebody respond. Am I audible? Please respond to that one at least. Okay, good. So we've started with the power of suppliers. So let's keep writing the content for this one. Stokeness is dependent on on its suppliers for special membrane for its cells, for the manufacture of its cells. Okay. It's not available everywhere, so definitely suppliers would be powerful. On that note, we can say that the suppliers are powerful because not everybody would be supplying that kind of special membrane. Okay, and it has, apart from that, um, and it has also partnered with two other engineering firms to subcontract the production of certain components in the fuel cells. Um, they are just not the raw material, they are also dependent on the supply of certain components. For that, they have entered into an agreement. That's one aspect of it. They have entered into an agreement with that. And what did they do? Stokeness has had to share much of its fuel cell designs. So the privacy is no longer there because they had to share their design to um, with the firms with whom they have entered into the agreement. So when they had to share their design, fuel cell designs, no longer that confidentiality, that privacy is there. So the threat is there. Okay. Um, they have dependent on the suppliers for components and had to share the cell design with them. What happened because of that? The privacy and confidentiality is affected. Privacy and confidentiality of that is affected. Okay. Um, they have become powerful. The suppliers have become powerful. What happens when the design of these cells is shared? Yesterday I was explaining to you about a concept called as integration. That is, if the business goes backward and integrates, it means to say that they make arrangement for their raw material. They are no longer dependent on the supplier, and if they move forward, they can sell their products directly by themselves instead of depending on the customers. In that case, if they are moving forward and selling their own products, it is forward integration. On the same note, we should also think about the supplier going forward and integrating. That is, when the cell design is shared with the supplier, every possibility that the supplier also can come out with their own production. If that is the case, that threat of forward integration is there because they have already shared the cell design with the supplier. Possibility of forward focus కావాలి. Anything else? Would you want to add anything else? Any other point? Then, if we come across any other point, we will write. But now let's talk about power of buyers or customers. Who are the buyers or customers here in this situation? The vehicle manufacturers are the buyers. Are they powerful? Do we see that there is some kind of problem from the buyers or the customers? Who are they? Is vehicle manufacturers. Vehicle manufacturers are the customers here. So in that case, how do we write? What do we write? See, it is the production is not a simple task. It is a time-consuming task. Gradually, the production has to be taken up. It is they have to convince the manufacturers to manufacture their vehicles in such a way that these cells can be fitted into that. So it is not an easy task, but because government is also encouraging such cells, they would it becomes easy to convince the manufacturers. That's one point of it. One important thing is in the domestic area. See, in this their country, the same country, if they have to convince their manufacturers, it's okay to some extent they would understand. But across the world, we have vehicle manufacturers, so it's now they have to also capture the manufacturers from international markets also, and to convince them and to make them manufacture vehicles according to their requirement is a task that has to be understood and taken up accordingly. Okay. The customers definitely are powerful, so convincing them and then making them manufacture according to this compatibility is a task. After that, the country doesn't have the appropriate infrastructure. Let's read through that part of it where see, a major problem which needs to be overcome with any of these new technologies is that there must be an infrastructure accessible to the end users for refueling their vehicles. So, like the petrol stations and they do that refueling of petrol. Such kind of infrastructure is not there. So, because such kind of infrastructure is not there, manufacturers may be hesitant about manufacturing such kind of engines. So that's a difficult task here. The country has not yet come out with certain refueling stations where refueling can happen. So it's just not about the vehicle manufacturers, it's about the ultimate customer also, who's going to use that to convince them to make them buy this one because of lack of infrastructure. Refueling infrastructure also makes it difficult to convince the manufacturers and the customers, those that are going to use this products for them by themselves for themselves. It's difficult to, so they now this has to be taken up seriously. um fifth one we have to talk about threat from substitutes. Threat of substitutes. Are there alternative substitutes available for this particular these kind of cells? Please tell me. It's easy. It's all we just have to read through the content and then give me the answer. Do we see, are there any substitutes for this particular thing? Not even one student is able to answer the question. Is my question clear? First point. Did you understand what question I am asking? Do we see alternative products for this particular thing? In the screen which is seen, you have alternative products. Just read through that and then give me the answer. Are they substitutes? It's very difficult to teach a class who is not responding. One at least respond, no? I have highlighted the answer also. Are you able to see Excel sheets on the screen? Excel is only there. Is it difficult to understand? Okay. Fuel cells. Then we have electrical batteries. And compressed natural gas. These are the substitutes that are available, and definitely it is a threat from them, because governments of many countries are keen on developing such products. See, they are encouraging uh, anyone who's coming out with these products. So um, it is not that what product Stokeness is producing, that only will rule the market, because anybody who can come out with less gas emitted batteries or cells or anything, government is giving it support. So we see that many products are coming out in the market, and there is a threat from all of them. So threat is high. Threat from these products is there, as governments are supporting these products, encouraging all such products. So it's a 16 marks question we have to answer. So talk about it, because the points are all of them are there in the content only. We need to read through the points, content, identify what are the problems and issues there. How do we talk about it? We have to talk about it whether that particular force is actually a problem, uh, or it's actually causing a problem to Stokeness, or Stokeness has a upper hold over that particular force. So from that aspect, from that point of view, we have to talk about it. Any doubts in this? You're not answering only what B bit says, discuss how the problems of defining the market in measuring a market share apply to Stokeness. Measuring the market. See, that is the point here. Problems in measuring the market share. See, it is very difficult to measure the market share, because how many of the manufacturers would be buying these cells from Stokeness? To assess that is a difficult task, because there are many suppliers with the alternative products available in the market. Now, getting that information from the suppliers, sorry, from the manufacturers, that they would be using that their cells, the cells that are produced by Stokeness, is an issue there. Plus, now we also have to look at the replacement market. See, already the old engine, um, which are already on the road. Now, if they are also considering replacing the old products with the new cells produced by so many manufacturers who have come out into the market, which motor vehicle would be choosing Stokeness cells is an issue. It is not a simple task that we can straight away. See, if it was directly to the customers, how many of them would be purchasing can be assessed. Now, it is linked with the manufacturer. The manufacturer, how for their engines, how many engines would be using the cells produced by Stokeness, assessing that, and the manufacturers are spread across the world. it is a difficult task. That is for the first time manufacture. Already those that are using the old engines, now if at all, if the old engines are replaced with the new cells, in that case, how many of the old vehicle owners will come forward and get the old engines replaced with the new cells is a difficult task. So these points have to be addressed as what are the difficulties that arise in measuring the market share for Stokeness. Discuss how the problems of defining the market in measuring a market share apply for Stokeness. Yes, definitely they do apply for that. So that is see how many suppliers are there, and by when would they come out with that. Only one important point what we know is, as of now, Stokeness seems to be a leader. They are only 3 years away from their launch, so after that their products will be available, but we do not have the information about the other suppliers. See what kind of technologies are they using, what is the life cycle, when would they come out with their products, and then what kind of agreements do the manufacturers have with the other suppliers, the other competitors. That kind of information, to get that is a difficulty. That is for the present market. Then if we talk about the replacement market also, it becomes a difficult issue to get information that about how many of them would be replacing their old engines with the new products that are available in the market. On that note, it is a difficulty. Okay. CBIT talks about assess the risk appetite of the venture capitalist and discuss how this might impact on the performance measurement at Stokeness. Yesterday also we've discussed about who VCs. VCs are those that come forward to invest in business ventures where the products are innovative. Because they are innovative, risk is associated with that, and then raising finances through conventional manner, that is raising funds from banks and other conventional financial institutions is a difficult task, because risk is associated with the product. Therefore, VCs come forward and invest. Yes, that is a nice move, but there are certain things associated with that, because the VCs are willing to take up the risk. They also expect a better return. So, in return of the investment, they expect a share in the equity. So share in the equity, that we can already see that VCs have appointed experienced managers. So the control is absolutely not in the hands of engineers. They are sharing the control along with the VCs, because VCs have appointed these managers. So dilution of control is one important thing. Assess the we see assess the risk appetite of the venture capitalists. It is a risky product because it was not launched earlier. It is not there present in the market. For the first time, Stokeness engineers have come forward with that. Okay, so they are risk seekers. Venture capitalists are risk seekers, and discuss how this might affect impact on performance measurements of Stokeness. See, the primary objective of Stokeness engineers at the first line we see, they have a mission to provide world leading reduced emission fuel efficient products for the motor industry in order to optimize shareholder returns. Okay, so this has to be achieved by the engineers. So they might have perceived things in a different manner, but now people who did not have this idea are now participating in decision making. So it may not go along with what the Stokeness engineers have initially perceived it to be. Okay. So that is the way we have to address. See, engineers maybe they were when they have come out with the products. The objective is to optimize shareholder returns, but optimizing of shareholder returns may not be in the short run. Maybe over a period of time, they would want to optimize the shareholders' return. But VCs, as we can see, that they are risk seekers. They are interested in investing risky investment proposals. So their expectation is to maximize on the returns. So they also they also have a share in the management. See, Stokeness has existed for only 5 years and is owned by its management and also venture capitalists. So they have a share in the equity. So because they want to maximize their profits, they can expect the other engineers to take dynamic decisions to maximize the shareholder return in the short run, which may not go well with the engineer's objectives. So that is a difficulty what we have to express. There is a dilution of control in Stokeness, is what we have to express there. Did you understand? No, you're not responding. I don't want to spend any more time on this. If you have any doubt, we will discuss it. Otherwise, we'll move forward to the PPT and then take up the next topic. Any doubts?